Alright, YouTube, back with part 2 of my brand new Nintendo 64 collection. Reasonotics doing it big. You know what I'm saying? Here we go. Let's just pick up where we left off. We left off with my favorite game of all time on any console, any generation, and that is Pilot Wing 64. You don't know? You better ask somebody. Here we go. Rainbow Six. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six on the Nintendo 64. Black cart and all that. You know, it's your tactical strategy, first-person shooter game. A little bit too realistic for my blood. You know what I'm saying? You get shot once, it's over. It's like real life. So, you know what I'm saying? I can respect that, but it doesn't mean I like that. So, you know, it's whatever. You know, for the Rainbow Six fans, I'm sure it's great to have it on the N64. For me, it's part of the collection. You know what I'm saying? Next, Rampage World Tour. One of the best all-time multiplayer games ever. I love this series. This is the remake of the NES Classic and Arcade Classic. And it did have a sequel on the N64 that I've yet to get my hands on. But Rampage World Tour, definitely big fun. I could even play through the entire 150 levels on my own without a friend. So imagine with multiplayer. Next, Ready to Rumble Boxing. It also came out on the Dreamcast. The N64, of course, was the inferior version. But it was still fun. It still got the job done. I have it on the Dreamcast also. So it's just a great, classic, quirky arcade boxer. You know what I'm saying? That's the best way to put it. Next, Road Rash 64. Donated to me by Mercury S. Boyles. Yo, hey, I know we need to talk, man. I know you've been trying to reach me on the cell phone. Please continue trying, man. I promise you I'll pick up. Yo, this game is, graphically, it's not that great at all for an N64 game. It's actually pretty bad. But, you know, it is fun, you know, riding the motorcycles and beating the snot out of people next to you and dropping them. So, you know, it is what it is. It's Road Rash. Next, Rush 2 Extreme Racing USA. This is part 2 in the San Francisco Rush Racing Series and Extreme Racing Series. Big time air, big time jumps, crazy shortcuts, great cars, great soundtrack, great tracks, and the stunt mode in this game is worth the price of admission alone. Amazing. Well, that's the sequel. Here's the original, San Francisco Rush Extreme Racing. Just a great racing game based in San Francisco. All the different locales are in the San Francisco area, all different tracks. Same thing, big jumps, big air, crazy racing, man. Good stuff. Next, Snowboard Kids, made by Atlas. A sleeper hit, a cult classic, a kart racer on snowboarders, running in the Mario Kart vein, but with all new life and all new originality. Just a great racing title. After that, we got the sequel, Snowboard Kids 2. Takes everything Snowboard Kids 1 did and added on it. Can't go wrong, man. Super great game. Big fun, multiplayer. Next, Southpark. Game played in the first-person view. It is not really a first-person shooter, even though it tries to play that off. It's very funny. You know, the multiplayer is where it's at in this game. The single-story campaign is not even worth going through, but the multiplayer is very fun. It is a very great game to have, especially if you have a lot of friends who like to play old-school style. Next, Star Fox 64, one of the classics on the N64. The remake of the SNES classic Star Fox included the Rumble Pack, revolutionary 3D graphics, amazing level design, just great, and it actually had actual voice acting instead of the little gibberish that you hear on the Super Nintendo game. You actually hear them talking in English. You know what I'm saying? So it's very fun, very good game. The multiplayer is addictive. Next, Star Wars Episode 1: Battle for Naboo. This is a game made with the Rogue Squadron engine, based in the universe of Episode 1. So instead of using X-Wings and stuff like that, you use Naboo starfighters, police cruisers, heavy staps, things like that. Just a great action, adventure, vehicle-based shooter. You know what I'm saying? Very well done. Next, Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. Another futuristic racer like F-Zero, like Extreme G, like Aero Gauge, like Wipeout, like all of them. But it's based in the Star Wars Episode 1 universe where you're pod racing like you saw in Episode 1 Phantom Menace if you watched that movie. You get to build up your pod, buy custom parts, repair it, fix it. It's got a deep customization mode. Very fun racer. I gotta go back and play this soon, man. I keep thinking about it. It's a great game. Next, the original Star Wars Rogue Squadron. This is the premier, not only on the N64 but across all generations, the premier vehicle-based shooter Star Wars game where you get to pilot the X-wing, the Y-wing, the A-wing, the B-wing, all the different wings across beautifully designed levels, amazing graphics. Even for the N64, these graphics were amazing. It started a whole series, man. So you got to check out Star Wars Rogue Squadron. Next, Star Wars Shadows of the Empire came out the launch year with the Nintendo 64, probably about 2 or 3 months after the system launched. This came out. An amazing third-person action adventure in the Star Wars universe off a character we know very little about in Dash Rendar, mercenary type, kind of like Han Solo. Oh, an amazing game. I'm telling you, I promise you. If you have an N64 and you don't have this game or you have not played this game, please go out and buy it. It's probably like $2 or $3 right now. It is probably my favorite Star Wars game of all time, out of all of them, because it's so unique and so different, and it's just great. You got on-foot third-person shooter levels. You got vehicle levels. It's just great. Next, the best game ever created of all time, and no, it's not Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. That is probably the second best. It is Super Mario 64. This is the one that did it. This is the one that redefined gaming as we know it. All I'm going to say is this. If you play Mario Galaxy 1 or 2 and you thought that was amazing, and it is, if you played any Mario game, any game that you played that you thought was amazing, go back, get an N64, and play this. And you will see where every game that you're talking about today, somehow, some way, got its inspiration and got so many things from this game. Best game ever created of all time. Next, Super Smash Bros. The original. You already know what this game started. An amazing multiplayer game, great fighting game, full of Nintendo characters, just great fun. Next, Turok Dinosaur Hunter, one of the best first-person shooters ever, especially of this generation. It's the first in a long line of sequels in a very storied franchise. It is an amazing 3D first-person shooter, great controls, great graphics, great look, great presentation, amazing weapons, exclusive to Nintendo 64. Next, the sequel, Turok 2 Seeds of Evil. Everything the first one did, and some. Better graphics, expansion pack compatible for extra RAM, extra resolution, extra graphics, or better graphics, I should say. Same great controls, same great story, humongous levels that were actually, if I remember correctly, for this game, the levels were mapped out in actual square footage. So you are really traveling through these cities and these levels. It takes so long because it's as if you're actually walking through a real city. You know what I'm saying? So, very good. Next. Oh, man, this is one of the best games. I still play it almost every day on the N64. Wave Race 64, one of the best racing games of all time. If you don't know, like I said before, you better ask somebody. Rent, well, you can't rent it anymore, but get it. It's a couple dollars. Download it for $10 if you must on the Wii Virtual Console, but nothing like having the original cart on the N64. Next, Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey. Basically NBA Jam in hockey. Super good fun, man. After that, a bunch of wrestling games that I own. WCW Mayhem. It's not the best wrestling game, I'll be honest. WCW Monday Nitro, again, not the best, but a fun arcade wrestler with tons of characters and unlockables. Very fun. It's a port of the PS1 version. Next, best wrestling game ever created, in my opinion, WCW Nwo Revenge. I love WCW, man. Back in the day, I was a WCW fan. I still think it's the greatest promotion of wrestling that's ever existed as far as wrestling goes. Had all the best wrestlers, and they're all in this game. Over 40-plus wrestlers. You know, crazy match types. Everything. It's just super fun, man. Great game. Next, WCW NWO World Tour was the first wrestling game released on the N64. It had a 3D graphics engine that really blew the minds of so many people back then, including myself. PlayStation tried to copy it with WCW versus the World. Didn't turn out as good. But WCW NWO World Tour is the beginning of the great line of wrestling games that you'll ever find. And it's on the N64. Next, World Cup 98, another EA Sports soccer game. You know, it is what it is. Next, World Driver Championship. This was N64's version of a Gran Turismo, and though it was not as great as Gran Turismo, it was super fun. It was great graphically. It just didn't have the real licenses, so instead of calling cars by the real name, they had made up names, but you could look at the car and know what it was. You know what I'm saying? Just a great racing game. Deep single-player campaign. Next, WWF No Mercy, one of the greatest wrestling games of all time. Just like WCW Nwo Revenge with more advancements. Next, WWF War Zone, another WWF title on the N64 from Acclaim Sports. Very realistic, the way it looked, especially back in this time. You know, different control scheme, kind of like a Mortal Kombat Street Fighter control scheme instead of your typical THQ grapple system. And then last but not least, WrestleMania 2000. Now, the label got scraped really bad, so I just took it off completely. This is WWF WrestleMania 2000, another great wrestling game. That is my collection of N64 titles, a total of 63 titles on the Nintendo 64, and growing every week, baby. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Check it out. If you want me to review any of these games, please leave a comment, request it. Subscribe, please, if you like what you saw. Got mad games, man, and I'm just trying to, share them with everybody, man. So God bless y'all. Stay gaming. Once again, Nintendo 64. What?